Hello and welcome to My Cup of Tea. I'm Zoe and I'm doing a series of vlogs based off of tea. Tonight's flavor is Jasmin Orange and the brand is Tea of Life and it's excellent. This is a really wonderful cup of tea for night when you don't want to get overly caffeinated but you want a little buzz. You don't want to fall asleep. It's also nice because you can taste the citrus. So the first book for tonight is The White Album by Joan Didion. It's my cover. This book was an incredibly interesting read for several reasons. First of all, because I didn't like Joan Didion, but I found the book fascinating itself. She was a child of the 60s and she's very judgmental of her generation and the mistakes they made. Show her a revolution, and she'll say, I agree with the revolution, here's what's wrong with the revolutionaries. Interesting thing is that Joan Didion was a journalist, so it is a very journalistic style. It does tell you the date, everything's nonfiction, everything is very reported. It isn't a lot of introspection, although I think that the parts that she does reflect upon herself are perhaps the most interesting parts. I enjoyed the fact that it was mainly written in the 60s and 70s because it's a time period that I'm very interested in. Several essays that I think stood out in this book for me are The White Album, which is the first essay. And The White Album takes the name from the Beatles' White Album. And it is very scattered, very crazy, very experimental, all about the 60s. Very interesting. Another one that is interesting is Good Citizens. And I enjoy it because in this she makes fun of people that just downright deserve to be made fun of, such as Pretty Nancy Reagan. Pretty Nancy Reagan, the wife of the then governor of California, was standing in the dining room of her rented house on 45th Street in Sacramento, listening to a television newsman explain what he really wanted to do. She was listening attentively. Nancy Reagan is a very good listener. One of the most interesting essays for me was Quiet Days in Malibu, where she talks about meeting a man named Marvin Saltzman, who is a immigrant from Mexico who raises orchids in California. And orchids are so fascinating to me. Another little something that I read lately is the newest edition of Adbusters called Endgame Strategies. Adbusters is a magazine full of anarchy, full of going against the system, going against advertisement, things like that. So if you're interested, I'd highly recommend them. This particular issue is a lot more serious and almost severe than some of the other issues I've read of them. It can be very satirical. This issue was not even satirical. It is downright angry. Another thing I love about Adbusters is their incredible graphics, such as this one. If you can't see, that's a tissue. Dirty tissue, and on top of the tissue it says, I've heard that in our current recession some rich people are washing and carefully drying their used tissues. The most intriguing part of this issue for me was a 3-part series essay called I Touch You, You Touch Me, and I Touch Myself. And it sounds very dirty, and it is about very dirty things, but it's told in a way that's completely interesting. It's sad more than anything else. It is not pornography. It's about how we simply do not connect in this modern day world. So those are my 2 recs for the week, including this tea, which I liked a lot more than I thought I would, and I hope you enjoy the first issue. Ciao!